Coolman229 here, another Topic of the Week video, and this week I'll be discussing Goku's characterization in Dragon Ball Super. Bit of a controversial topic in the fandom. This week's topic was submitted by a Tumblr anon, and their topic is: can you do a Topic of the Week video on Goku's overall portrayal in Super, and whether or not the fandom has overblown its supposed flaws in writing him? Now, I want to get something out of the way here. I enjoy Super. I watch it every week on Crunchyroll. I don't even keep up with the English dub. But, I think the fandom has not given Super a fair shake. And a lot of times, I mean, I know there are people who from the very beginning were against it. A lot of people who didn't want a continuation. And, you know, fair enough. But I think a lot of people haven't really given Super really a fair look. And a lot of problems come with people who are only listening from things from what they've been told, or people who are taking scenes out of context. And I think a lot of problem comes with the fact that the fandom generally will overreact to stuff. Don't get me wrong, there are some issues with Super, and there are issues that I have with Goku's characterization. There are things in the show that I wish hadn't been done. There are things that I wish had been handled differently. But I think the difference here is that there needs to be, like, when you're looking at something, you need to say, alright, so there's an issue, but it's not a crippling issue. No, and I think there's a lot of times, and this isn't even just the Dragon Ball fandom, because I've seen this with a lot, where people have very little space between absolutely perfect and flawless and the worst thing that has ever been created by the hands of man. And there is a gray space in between, and it's something that I've always, talked about. When you have, when I have criticisms of something, I have like a threshold of criticisms where, I'll have some issues, but if it doesn't hit, a certain point, then I don't have as big of an issue with it because there's enough good, there's enough good to outweigh it. And I feel like that's what Super is. And there are issues with it, and there is stuff that I didn't like. Okay, for example, during the Goku Black Saga, when Goku went back and was learning the evil containment wave from Roshi, which was really cool that they brought that back, because Zamasu was immortal, and they're like, okay, well, we can't kill him, so let's seal him with the evil containment wave. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. And also that moment where Piccolo wanted to teach Goku, but then he rushed off to Roshi, but that was funny. But Goku learns it, and he basically, he makes sure that he can, accurately throw his target into a pot, and then, then he's getting ready to go, and they go back to, the future timeline to help Blucher Trunks, and then we find out that Goku forgot the seal that's required to actually seal the person in. Yeah, that wasn't exactly a shining moment for Goku. But really, it's not the worst thing, in all honesty. I mean, this is really a tradition that goes all the way back to Dragon Ball. And shoot, let's pull back a similar situation where you had Roshi trying to seal King Piccolo, and instead of having Tien and Chaozu help him, he decides to go it alone and use the evil containment wave. Fails, it ends up not working, and he ends up dying. And Chaozu ends up dying too. But, if Roshi had just, and this is something I said as I was watching Dragon Ball for the first time, and I'm like, okay, so you should get Chaozu to use his psychic powers to hold the pot steady, and then you can, put King Piccolo into it. But, he didn't do that. He made sure Tien wasn't involved, and it ended up extending it. And there's a tradition in Dragon Ball of someone holding the idiot ball to extend the arc to make sure it doesn't end so quickly. Goku happened to be holding it in Super. Now, frankly, it could have been done a lot better. Like, okay, so what if Roshi had accidentally written it wrong? Or what if it catches fire, or they lose it, or it's damaged in the fight with, Zamasu or Goku Black? What if something happens to it? Like, what if the pot gets broken before, well, it did get broken, but, what if it happened and they couldn't properly use it? There are many ways that they could have accomplished the same thing without having Goku forget it. But it's, in all honesty, it's not the worst thing in the world, and the manga, oh gosh, the manga makes it worse. People always talk about the whole sensu beans, but in the manga, like in the anime, Goku simply forgot the seal. He grabbed the pot and ran. Because, I mean, they were in a hurry to get back to the future, which on some level is understandable. In the manga, he accidentally grabbed a cabaret coupon from Roshi's house instead of it. Like, are you serious, Toyotaro? And a lot of people, talking about the anime and the manga, a lot of people think that the anime and the manga are either the same thing or they're showing the same stuff. No. I mentioned the notes that Toriyama does, but what he does is he gives this to Toei and Toyotaro, and they each do their thing. And the manga is generally supposed to be more or less an adaptation of the anime, except it cuts out like a lot of stuff. It didn't even touch the Resurrection F arc, which I thought was weird when I was going back and looking at the manga. But Toyotaro and Toei each do their thing. Toriyama doesn't control it. It's really whatever they want to do. In Toei, it's basically just whoever's writing that episode, which is why you get wildly different moments. Like, you had that, the kissing, which I will talk about that, later. And then you had the great moment where Goku fights Goku Black and Zamasu, and just like rage. I'll get to that in a minute, though. Toyotaro has shown a distinct anti-Goku sentiment in the manga, and a lot of people think that the anime is anti-Goku and trying to make him look bad, but I've noticed that some people in the fandom, and I want to clear up this misconception, I've noticed some people in the fandom think that the problems that are seen in the manga are all present in the anime, and no. Let me talk about a few of the differences. And first off, let me talk about that kiss scene. When Blucher Trunks comes in and kisses Mai, and he does the whole mouth-to-mouth sensu bean thing, that was a controversial moment in the anime when people thought that it was saying that Goku's never kissed Chi-Chi, which a lot of people were like, they have 2 kids, they've been married for years, and they definitely got freaky during that week before the Cell Games. You're like, you're telling me they've never kissed? And a lot of people were really pissed off about that. Now, when you really look at it, it's basically just a poorly done joke. And this is one of those moments where I'm just like, really, Toei? I mean, then the joke in and of itself is actually pretty funny, because you have Vegeta, or you have Goku reacting in surprise. He's like, wow, Trunks, why are you putting your mouth against hers? And then, because he's trying to give her a sensu bean. So, you don't need to kiss to give a sensu bean. No one's ever done that. All you need to do is put it in there and make them chew it, and then they'll be fine. So then Goku's reacting in surprise to that, and then Vegeta, thinking that he's talking about kissing, is like, what, you've never done that? And Goku's like, no. Vegeta's like, but you're married! And he's like, what does that have to do with anything? And Goku has that derpy smile on his face. But the whole thing was this misunderstanding between Goku and Vegeta over what they're actually talking about, whether it be kissing or the mouth-to-mouth sensu bean, or Trunks being so overtly romantic with Mai in public, and there are all sorts of things that you can do with that. The problem is that we never really got the actual thought process for each character. With Vegeta, making it clear that he's talking about kissing in his head, not verbally, and then you have Goku, and all you really need though is have Goku be thinking about the mouth-to-mouth sensu being, or wow, he's doing that in public, says that's weird, or something like that. That way, Vegeta's reaction, Vegeta and Goku's reactions make sense when you're looking at it from that perspective. They're both having a miscommunication, which is exactly what Goku and Vegeta would be doing. And it's just, there are a lot of jokes in Super, and a lot of them work. This is one of them that doesn't work, and it's just one of those things that comes off wrong. But when you really think about it, it's just a poorly done joke. It could have been done better, and even just slightly changing it, you could have actually made the joke more overt. The manga, however, goes out of its way to establish that yes, Vegeta is talking to Goku about kissing, and Goku is definitely saying that he has never kissed. Oh joy! Let's just take the problem and make it 100 times worse. Really? And a lot of people were thinking that, you know, that the manga would end up fixing this, and just made the problem worse. And in fact, going through the manga, I've noticed a lot of stuff with this. Aside from a lot of great like family moments with Goku, especially all the great moments that Goku has with Goten in the anime, which, you know, so many great moments with Goten in the anime, gone in the manga. He skips past all of those. We see that Toyotaro has gone out of his way to make Goku look bad. Like, and I'm not even going to go over every little single problem, but during the sparring session that Goku has with Blucher Trunks during the early part of the Goku Black Saga, we see that in the anime, Goku basically shows him Trunks the Super Saiyan forms, especially when he goes up to Super Saiyan 3, and he's like, you know, I know you've probably never seen this before, and it's like, and then of course Trunks has to say, oh, I can't believe you've ascended past the level of ascending past a Super Saiyan. And I'm just like, oh, I forgot, he wasn't there for when they actually named it Super Saiyan 2. It's just a Super Saiyan that has ascended past the level of a Super Saiyan, and oh, I'm glad we worked in the numbering system. But that took to like the Buu Saga. But anyway, he's doing the sparring session, and Goku pretty much curb stomps him in Super Saiyan 3. You know, Trunks is only going up to Super Saiyan, I believe it's Super Saiyan 2. But the point is that he hasn't reached that level. And, you know, and heck, especially he hasn't even gone to, and Goku hadn't even gone up to the God level. So, you know, Trunks was realizing, you know, wow, this is why I'm so outclassed. The manga, however, and I'm going to be saying that a lot, the manga goes out of its way to make Goku look like a jerk. So, in the manga they have the sparring session, and Goku does go Super Saiyan 3, but, in the manga, it shows that Trunks shocks Goku in it, which doesn't happen in the anime, and Goku in Super Saiyan 3 doesn't seem to be able to handle it. So, he switches in a split second to his God level just to beat Trunks, to make sure that Super Saiyan 3 didn't look bad. And Goku is called out as immature as ever by Whis, with Vegeta going, that dirty bastard! And are you freaking kidding me? Like, this is an overt change from what happened in the anime. Goku just beat Trunks. Trunks hasn't reached Super Saiyan 3 level, and Super Saiyan 3 is super powerful. So, you know, that doesn't make sense. But to change it so that he couldn't handle Trunks in Super Saiyan 3, and he had to switch up to the God level just for that split second, just to beat Trunks, just to be petty. Are you kidding me, Toyotaro? And this is one of the biggest problems that I have with the manga and Toyotaro, is that he's always trying to make Goku look bad. And I'll get into more in a second. And a lot of people I've been seeing think that this stuff is in the anime. No, it's not. No, trust me. Go and watch the anime and look at the manga. They're very different. Goku doesn't... I mean, there are mistakes with Goku in the anime, don't get me wrong. There are definitely things that I think that, you know, sometimes he sounds a bit dumb. Sometimes he really does. Sometimes he seems a little clueless. Sometimes they use him for a joke, which you have a whole cast of funny characters that you could use instead of Goku. But sometimes it just, you know, whatever. But the anime is nowhere near as bad as this. Like, when people are complaining that, you know, the hashtag not my Goku, you know, that stuff, that's in the manga. That I thoroughly agree with. The manga, hashtag not my Goku. The anime, however, there are mistakes, but for the most part, he's still Goku, and he still has serious moments. In fact, there's this moment in the Resurrection F Saga when Goku's about to fight Frieza, and Trunks and Goten are there, and he tells them to leave because, you know, this isn't a place for kids.
Goten, Trunks, listen! I took Piccolo's body to the lookout. I want you boys to go there and talk to Dende, so he knows what to do.
Okay. But you're about to kick Frieza's butt, right? Can't we do it after that?
Yeah, we never get to see the cool fights.
This isn't a debate. What's about to happen isn't going to be kid-friendly. You got me? Now go!
So especially since Goku knows that, yeah, Frieza's probably going to target 1, the son of Goku, and 2, Trunks, because he looks like Trunks who killed him, and, you know, which is actually a nice thing that they showed that Frieza remembered that. So yeah, 1, Goten and Trunks are targets. 2, they have connections to Goku and Vegeta. 3, Goku knows that, yeah, Frieza is not above using, you know, family, and torturing and hurting family and friends just to screw over Goku. Or anyone, really. Like, he killed Frieza in the Namek Saga just because he's a jerk. And that's what, you know, ended up triggering Goku going Super Saiyan. But, you know, he knows that this is Frieza, and that's why Goku wants him to get out. That's a nice, serious moment from Goku in a show where he otherwise is fairly lighthearted and goofy. And, you know, this is Goku. You know, Goku's always been fairly jovial and stuff. And shoot, I mean, going back and I was watching the Dragon Ball Z Kai, you know, in the Buu Saga, you know, when Supreme Kai takes Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta to Babidi's ship, and they're just like, okay, alright, we gotta formulate a plan of attack, because he wants to draw us in, and Goku and Vegeta are like, let's go! And then Gohan's like, hey, let's go! And then I'm just like, Gohan, no! And they're just like, oh, how bad could it be? And then the Supreme Kai is just sitting there like, well, guys! The threat of the universe! And yeah, that can sum up pretty much all of the Buu Saga. No one listened to Supreme Kai, which is, funnily enough, in Super, when Blue Trunks comes in and he says, and they're like, hey, is Majin Buu threatening your world? He's like, no, I listened to Supreme Kai and we beat him. And I'm just like, he's like, yeah, we killed Babidi and Deborah and we stopped Majin Buu from being released. And I'm like, should have listened to Supreme Kai. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, there are moments, I mean, shoot, even there was a moment in the Buu Saga when I was watching Kai, and Goku sees Videl, and he's like, are you a boy or a girl? And I'm like, gosh dang it, Goku. I'm like, these moments always happen in Dragon Ball. Goku's definitely not a normal person. They do crank up the comedy in Super, and on some hand, I actually do quite like this. There's a lot of good funny stuff. I just wish that there were times when they wouldn't use Goku as the joke, but it's not nearly as bad or nearly as common as people think. It's just Goku feels a little bit more lighthearted in Super than he has in the past at times. And, you know, and I understand that some people want Goku to be super serious all the time. And it's like, but, you know, there are moments where he does get serious. So, in Super. But, you know, I understand that there's a problem, but the problem isn't nearly as big as people think. Now, another thing I want to talk about with Goku in Super is the way he treats Gohan. Now, in the manga, oh gosh, let me talk about the manga. The manga, Goku's a jerk. That's it, Goku's a jerk in the Dragon Ball Super manga. You know, when Goku and Vegeta are going up to discuss who they're going to pick for the Universe 6 tournament, you know, Vegeta's like, what about Gohan? He's powerful, he's got great potential, and then Goku's like, the worst thing that Goku says is he's rusty. Which, yeah, he was, especially in seeing Resurrection F. But, I mean, that's pretty much the worst thing he says about Gohan. But when they go get Piccolo, because Piccolo is going to be their choice, they see Gohan training, and Gohan's like, I want to participate in the tournament. And then Goku's like, spot's yours. And, you know, even though he said that he was rusty, even though he was like, you know, he said he wasn't going to, you know, he wasn't going to be as competitive on that level of the strongest in the universe, you know, like he would have been had he kept training. But the second he says he wants to participate, Goku is like, you got the spot. And the only reason that he doesn't is because he's already got work scheduled, and Goku straight is understanding, and, you know, he's obviously disappointed because he's like, my son wanted to fight, and now he can't because of work. But Goku understands, and he says that studying's important too, and he understands that Gohan has a life, and he talks to Goten about this in episode 1 of Super, where he has this nice moment with Goten at the end of the episode, and he's talking about how he's happy for Gohan and Videl, and and he's like, now that since Mr. Satan built them a house, now Gohan can study all he wants, and that's adorable. I love that, because Goku has grown past the point that he was at, where always people want to bring up the Cell games when he had Gohan fight Cell, without realizing that Gohan didn't have the passion for fighting that he did. Goku's grown past that. He acknowledges that Gohan has a different life. He makes different choices. He wants to prioritize taking care of his family and having a job over fighting, and that's cool with him. He does want him to fight, and he loves it, and he loves sparring with Gohan, especially later in Dragon Ball Super, when Gohan reawakens his mystic powers, and he spars Gohan and Goku end up sparring. Goku loves that. He always he knows how powerful Gohan is, and he wants him to live up to that potential, but he's fine if he makes those different choices, which is something that I like. It's often something that I think people kind of overlook. The manga, however, has Goku call Gohan a bookworm, saying that, oh, well, we can't have him fight in the tournament. He's turned into a bookworm. He even lost his gi. And like, really? 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 Come on. Goku is never dismissive of Gohan like that. Even during the Cell games, he didn't make Gohan fight because he was dismissive. He had him fight Cell because he knew that Gohan had the power to destroy Cell. He knew that he was going to reach Super Saiyan 2. The miscalculation was he thought that Gohan would awaken this power on his own, and it took the destruction of Android 16, really. And it took Cell really pushing him for the Super Saiyan 2 power to come out, and it was a miscalculation on Goku's part, and it was probably one of the few times in the series where Goku does actually something that was a real big screw up with Gohan. But he recognized this issue, and that's why one of the reasons why he ended up sacrificing himself to, teleport Cell away from Earth, so that, Gohan's mistake doesn't cost the world. It doesn't end up blowing up the world. And, we've seen him, he's never dismissive or hateful of Gohan, not even in Super. He loves Gohan. I mean, sure, he thinks Saiyaman is weird. Yeah, he pretty much always has. And, when he went and saw the Saiyaman movie, he wasn't nearly as interested in the choreographed fights as he is in real life fights, but it's never anything that is dismissive of Gohan. He cares about Gohan. He cares that Gohan has made a different life choice, but is happy when he wants to fight. And Goku will accept Gohan at any time for the life choices he makes. And that's really sweet, and I think it's often overlooked. But in the Dragon Ball Super manga, Toyotaro takes all that out and has Goku outright insult Gohan. It hurts me. This is not Goku. Hashtag not my Goku. This is what a lot of people, I've seen people see these things and think this is in the anime. I want to tell people once and for all, this stuff isn't in the Dragon Ball Super anime. Goku never treats Gohan like that. He is willing to spar with him at any point, and even in the anime, when we see when Goku and Gohan go full out in their sparring match before the Tournament of Power, Goku respects Gohan's wishes to go full out, because he wasn't going to go full out initially, but Gohan wanted him to. He wanted them both to go full out, and Gohan respected that wish, because he's not going to hold back on Gohan. He understands, this is what Gohan wants. And I love that. I love this bits of character, that no matter how goofy he is in Super, he loves his sons. We see so many moments with not just Gohan, but Goten as well. One of my favorite Goten and Gohan Goten and Goku moments was when Goku wants to get, going to go train with Whis during the beginning of the Tournament of Power saga, and Goten finds that Goku's going to go off and train, and he's like, "Can I come?" And Goku's like, "Yeah, come with me to go train with Whis." I'm like, "That's cool." Goku did not hesitate to accept that. Chi-Chi didn't want him to go, but Goku snuck him out, and they were going to go train with Whis. And the only reason that Goten doesn't go with Gohan, or doesn't go with Goku, is because Trunks wanted to train with him, and he doesn't have anyone else his age that's strong until Goten, except for Goten. So Goten decided to stay behind and train with Trunks. So Goku would go off, and he wanted to go get Vegeta and train with Whis. But we have this, that's a nice moment. And for people saying that Goku is a bad father and a super, he's not. He was totally pumped to go train with Goten for, with Whis. And sure, it would have outclassed Goten by leagues, but hey, bringing him along for that training, that's cool. He's totally cool with that. And then we also get a great moment in that same episode where, because what the bargain or the deal that Whis has with them is that if you want me to train you for any time of period of training, you need to bring me a food that I haven't had before. So Goku goes with Goten, and they go and shop for food, and then he's carrying around that food with him, because he's going to go meet up with Whis so that he can give it to him so that they can train. And he sees that Bulma's pregnant, and once she starts telling about it, because he hasn't seen her in a while, and he's like, "What?" Oh, Goku, all those times where you don't see your friends for months or a year, you didn't notice that Bulma got pregnant, but when he sees that, and he sees her, pregnant, he's going to give Bulma the food that he was and he would have to go out and buy more food to give to Whis, and Whis is the most powerful being in the universe, in Universe 7, so, that's the bargain, and he was going to give that to Bulma if it hadn't been for Goten saying, "Hey, you should probably give that to Whis." He's like, "Oh, yeah." Yeah, Bulma's one of Goku's oldest friends. No, his oldest friend. He's known her the longest. And he was going to give her the food because she was pregnant. And that's a great little moment with Goku. Now, that same episode does have the whole conversation between Goku and Vegeta that a lot of people had an issue with, where Vegeta is saying that he won't leave, to go train because Bra's about to be born, and Goku's like, I don't know why you're, fretting over this so much, especially you, Vegeta. He says, and he brings up the fact that he was dead for Goten's birth, and Chi-Chi never held that against him. And then, Vegeta's like, "Bulma will never forgive me," but the funny thing is that Bulma had already basically given Goku the blessing to go and train. She's just like, "Hey, so you're here to ask Vegeta to train?" He's like, "Yeah, okay." Bulma wasn't going to do it. I'm sure Vegeta's grown so much since Trunks was born. And even during the Buu Saga, when he basically didn't really give Trunks any kind of affection until the hug right before he sacrificed himself. So, I'm sure she's understanding that, Vegeta's got his way of doing things, and he has become a much better father. He's not perfect, but he's become a much better father and a much better person since then. So, she, if he needs to go and train, especially if there's a huge threat that comes in, sure, go ahead. As long as he's there, sometime, as long as he comes back. She doesn't have a problem with Goku asking him to go out and train, and she knows that when they go out with Whis to train, it's probably going to be a while. So by the time he comes back, Bra would probably already have been born. The way Goku phrases it, "well, I was dead for Goten's birth," is a bit of a foot in his mouth moment, and it's not Goku being a bad person, it's just him wording it wrong, because he's right. He was dead for Goten's birth, and Chi-Chi never held that against him. Really, you can't hold it against him when he sacrificed himself to save the world, and then decided to stay dead because he was definitely a danger magnet, as Bulma said, that he attracts threats, and he felt like the world was better off without him. So, you know, you can't really blame him for that, and Chi-Chi certainly doesn't. So it's really not that bad of a moment. It's just one of those things of Goku, you could have worded that better. The manga, however, has Goku not only say that he wasn't there for Goten's birth, but he doesn't even know when Gohan was born. Gohan, his firstborn son, the one named after Grandpa Gohan. You're telling me, Toyotaro, that he doesn't know when Gohan was born? What? Was he out training? Was he, you know, did he just not care? I know those aren't true, because it's canon that in between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, that 5-year gap, that Goku didn't train. Well, he trained some, but probably not much. It's one of the reasons why Raditz coming in was such a hardcore shock and a gut punch. He didn't train. Chi-Chi was like, the world's at peace. There's, you know, really no need for training. You know, he hadn't been really doing much. He'd just been spending time with his family, hunting to go get food, helping them build a house, building the house. You know, he was just with his family. And we know that he loves Gohan. Even if you want to go back, all the way back to the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, he loves Gohan. When Gohan was taken by Raditz, he was just like, yeah, give me my son back. You know, he was pissed off. And ultimately, he ends up dying for Gohan to stop Raditz and, you know, the Earth too. But Gohan, really. And we see, even throughout the show, throughout Dragon Ball Z, throughout Dragon Ball Super, Goku loves Gohan. Goku appreciates Gohan. Goku respects Gohan. You're telling me that in the manga, he's saying that he didn't even know when he was born? Bullcrap. He named Gohan after his grandpa. The one person in his family that he knew, the only family he had, the person who he loved so much that after Gohan died, he would talk to the 4-star Dragon Ball and call it Grandpa. He named Gohan after him, and you're telling me he doesn't care? No, bullcrap. Bullcrap. No way. No way. And this is just more of Toyotaro wanting to insert crap of making Gohan look bad. Or making Goku look bad. And this stuff is not in the anime. Like I said, he only mentions not being there for Goten's birth, which is 100% true. He was dead at the time. But of course, the manga has to make it worse. And another thing that people want to say is that Goku's portrayed as a terrible father and, you know, just doesn't care about his family, but we see that when he's, like, I talked about Goten and Gohan, but when we see his interactions with Pan, he adores Pan. He is such a sweet grandpa. Like, there's a moment where he's, you know, he's sitting there with Piccolo and, you know, Goku's playing with Pan, and he's like, you're a Super Saiyan now, and he's, and I'm like, oh, and then she's calling him Papa, and he's like, no, I'm Grandpa, and I'm like, this is adorable. And, you know, there's a moment during the episode, Goku's got his whole ki screwed over because he did the 10 times Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan Blue during the Universe 6 tournament, and he can't fly. And there's this moment, and I was rewatching that episode, and I noticed this when he's, you know, they're looking for Pan because Pan disappeared, and he looks like he's wants to fly, but then he realizes that he can't, because as King Kai told him, if he keeps using his ki like that, he's going to end up screwing up his body to the point where he can't get stronger. A moment that caused Goku to legitimately look depressed over the fact, because we know that Goku trains and becomes stronger for the sake of his family and his friends, and this is, he says this in the first episode.
Do you really think you have to keep training?
Yeah! Majin Buu was ridiculously strong. There's no way I could have stopped him on my own. And you never know, one day someone even stronger could show up. So I've got to keep training to keep you guys safe.
So, yeah, it makes sense that he's despondent at the thought that he couldn't get stronger because he couldn't be able to protect anyone or fight off any serious threats. And when he can't use his ki to fly and find Pan, he just ends up he looks like he's mad, and it's a moment that I hadn't noticed back when I originally watched the episode, but it's like, wow. It's like he cares about Pan. And we even see this all the way in the epilogue when he's with Pan, just their interactions are so adorable. And his interactions with Pan are adorable in Dragon Ball Super. I mean, Pan is just adorableness incarnate, so makes sense. So, Goku loves his family. And even you see in bits like in the latest, in this ending for the Tournament of Power in the anime, where you see the ending shows the 4-star Dragon Ball, and inside you see it shows Goten and Chi-Chi, and then Gohan, Videl, and Pan. That's his family. It says those are the people who are most important to him, because the 4-star Dragon Ball has really always been a symbol for Goku. It's always been something very close to Goku, and something that was the last really remainder that he had from his grandfather. So that is sweet, and that's shown in the anime where he does care about his family. And it kind of annoys me when people dismiss that, to say that the anime shows him being a terrible and uncaring father, and just just uncaring family man, because he's not. And one of the moments that really, really sticks out to me for how much Goku cares about his family comes when in the Goku Black Saga, and this is, I remember when this happened, and people were pumped, because it's revealed by Goku Black and Zamasu that Goku Black body-jacked Goku from another timeline, and then in Goku's body killed Chi-Chi and Goten. When Goku finds this out, he is pissed. And it's not even his Chi-Chi, it's not his Goten, it's from another timeline that he has no connection to. But the fact that he did that, just at all, threw Goku into such an unyielding rage that he was just wailing on them. This is, and he gets the upper hand on Goku Black and Zamasu, and it's such an awesome fight. And you see him just smack them around, and his reaction to it, his screaming, just... Oh, he's not going to forgive them. He's not going to forgive Goku Black, and, Goku doesn't get sent into a rage all that often. He's grown. He was more of a, back in Dragon Ball, he was more easily set off. But after the teachings of Grandpa Gohan that he had, and specifically after he interacted with Ader, Goku did really kind of calm down and become more peaceful and much more forgiving. It's just certain moments that set him off. Specifically when his family and his friends are killed, like when Krillin was killed in Dragon Ball, or when Krillin was killed in Dragon Ball Z, or or when his family's in danger, and specifically in this moment when Goku Black killed Chi-Chi and Goten from another timeline. Whoo boy, don't mess with Goku. Don't mess with Goku's family. Don't touch his friends. Says they are the most important things to him. And seeing how much he valued Goten and Chi-Chi in that moment, that even if his Goten, his Chi-Chi are still safe back in his timeline, they mess with them ever in any timeline, Goku will mess you up. And that was a great moment, especially after the debacle with the whole Trunks and Mai Sensu being kissed thing. This was cleansing. A lot of people were really happy to see this. A lot of Gochi fans were happy to see this. I was definitely happy. I mean, in fact, that moment, because I'd only been sort of paying attention to the Goku Black arc occasionally, but that moment, that got me to stand up and take attention. Because it's such a great moment. And Goku does care about his family. And he does care about them in Super. It's not just, well, Goku doesn't really care about them. He doesn't see them as important, or they're just like people that are there. No. Goku does care about his family. Goku really cares about his family. Even in Super. It's only in the manga that he doesn't care. And, oh, yeah, I almost forgot to say, while Goku had that amazing rage moment over the thought, just being told that or just that a Goten and a Chi-Chi were killed. The manga, however, has once it's revealed that Goku Black stole Goku's body, there's no flashback to, you know, Chi-Chi and Goten dying like there was in the anime. There's no anger moment from Goku. He's just like, well, I guess I gotta avenge myself. Seriously? You took out probably one of the best moments in Super for some sort of lackluster, half-baked, oh, well, I guess he killed me. Yeah, Toyotaro definitely has it out for Goku. And it pisses me off. Like, Goku, that's not Goku. For all the problems that the Super anime has, which I don't think that they are as fundamental and experience destroying as some people seem to think, I really think that, you know, 'cause I really think that the fandom overblows a lot of stuff, and a lot of times they just take stuff out of context and don't really look at it. And I know a lot of people, I've actually talked to some people in the fandom who, you know, who were hating Super, especially when it comes to Goku, and I started talking to them, and they hadn't actually ever watched Super. And, you know, it's like, I understand, you know, hearing things that happened, but a lot of people aren't really keeping up with it, and something happens that's controversial, and there's a lot of context that people aren't getting. Like, when Goku goes to ask Vegeta to train, some people might be saying, well, why would he ask Vegeta to come and train when he's got his child coming up? Well, Bulma's okay with it. In that context, we see that Vegeta's the only one here who's getting, you know, moaning about it. And, you know, and okay, it's great that Vegeta wants to, you know, be there for the birth of his child, but he's using Bulma as his excuse. You know, Bulma will never forgive me. I'm like, you know, Vegeta, you don't have to be tsundere. You have your second child coming. You don't have to be tsundere over your family. You can just say, I want to be here for my child because I care. But this is Vegeta, and he has to be extra, and he has to be tsundere. But, you know, and then, you know, Whis just makes Brawl be born because he can do that. So, you know, that solved that issue, but yeah, I mean, the portrayal of Goku does at times annoy me. There are times when Goku does act overly goofy and does act at times seemingly dumb. And just no, it's not really Goku. Goku can be dumb, Goku can be naive, he really can. But, you know, I don't really want to see that as much, especially not in important moments. And another thing I do want to talk about a bit, as a side note really, is that something I've been saying long before the English dub for Super came out, that one of the biggest things that made Goku sound so bad when people were watching Super is the fact that he's voiced by Nozawa. And don't get me wrong, Nozawa does a fantastic job acting, but she's using a child voice for Goku, a grown man with 2 children. And I said for a long time that once we hear Sean Schemmel doing the voice, even if, you know, it's pretty much exactly the same, it will sound better, and it does. Went back and rewatched the same scenes where more or less the same thing is being said, and it sounds so much better with Sean Schemmel as Goku. And Kyle Herbert as Gohan. I mean, with these guys having adult voices, but Krillin too, you know, with these guys having adult voices, not sounding like children, because that's the thing. The combination of Goku at times acting childish and goofy with a child voice makes him look significantly worse than it actually is. With an adult man's voice, with, you know, Sean Schemmel doing those lines, you know, it sounds so much better because Goku sounds his age. And Goku sounds like he does during, you know, the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament in Dragon Ball, and during Dragon Ball Z, he sounds like he does. He doesn't sound like a child. And that because when I started watching the Super dub, I was just thinking, I was right. Goku sounds so much better, even during the times when he's doing something goofy like, you know, yes, Super Saiyan, please. You know, it's like it sounds so much better when Goku has that adult voice, and I do recommend people to watch the Super dub because they've already gotten through the first 2 arcs and they're in the Universe 6, you know, arc as of recording for this video. So the parts that people weren't really excited about, you know, you can binge through those, and it does improve the experience. It really does, and I'm really excited to see a lot of later scenes, especially the Goku rage moment. I'm seeing that voiced by Sean Schemmel. So, yeah, I mean, there are problems. There are definitely some issues, but frankly, I don't think the issues are so bad is for the fandom to just rage over it. And I haven't talked about the other stuff in. I wanted to keep this to just talking about Goku's characterization, because if I could bring up a bunch of stuff, especially in comparing the anime and the manga, like how in the anime you had Miss Pisa show up for at the end of episode 1, when in the manga it was just some guy, but I mean, I wanted to keep this to just Goku, and there's more to talk about with Super, but particularly when it comes to the characterization of Goku, there are issues. There are problems, but I don't think they're that big or so horrible that they deserve to be, you know, bashed, and anyone who likes Super get bashed, and anyone who thinks that Super isn't anything less than the product of Satan himself, not Mr. Satan, Lucifer Satan, you know, you're not a true Dragon Ball fan, because, you know, I've had people do that to me and attack me over it. It's not that bad. And really, I wanted to say that, and I think I'm pretty much done on this topic, because I talked about the stuff I wanted to talk about. I talked about Goku's characterization, because, yeah, I don't think it's that bad, and there are times when it's actually good, really good. It's just that sometimes, you know, there are moments that get blown out of proportion. So, yeah, that's about it. If you want to submit a topic to me, you can either comment below on YouTube, or if you're on Tumblr, send me an ask and do a topic column, and then whatever topic you want me to talk about. Just make sure to follow the rules that I'll be posting down below. If you want to watch last week's topic video, you can check that out here. If you want to watch next week's topic video, you can check that out here when I get that done. And thank you for watching.